Hey folks, Big Deano here again. This time taking a look at yet another of Funko's Legacy Collection. This time it is the Fallout 3 Power Armor. That's literally what it's called. They didn't call it Brotherhood of Steel in Power Armor or anything like that, just generic Power Armor. It does have the Brotherhood of Steel logo though, which is a bit strange. So yeah, from what they're saying, this is essentially just a suit of power armor. There's no one in it. But yeah, jokes aside, let's take a quick look at the box, shall we? Get out of the way. So, as I said, sticker with the Brotherhood of Steel logo and power armor action figure. You get a picture of the power armor in the back. Fallout Legacy Collection number 2, age 17 plus. Joking hazard, you will die, don't put this in your mouth. And we have Legacy Collection number 1 is Lone Wanderer, or well, everyone knows my stance on him. And Power Armor is number 2. Hopefully they do make more of these, because I mean, judging from this guy, they're getting better as they go along. So yeah, this is the Power Armor figure, more commonly referred to as the T45b Power Armor that most of the Brotherhood uses, or at least they did until Fallout 4, and then Bethesda decided to introduce the T60, and all of a sudden this thing became common muck that the Brotherhood doesn't want to use. Think of that what you will. Yeah, anyway, in terms of this figure, I'm actually quite impressed by it. Now, there are a few bad points, some of which I can't really fault Funko for. They've went with the Fallout 3 version, so obviously the suit itself, if you look at it here, it looks a bit thin. That's because in Fallout 3 they weren't essentially mech suits that you jumped into, they were literally suits of armour that you put in. I mean, you can even tell it's just normal hands there. So I can't really fault Funko for that. They were just going off what they had in front of them. Hopefully they do come out with a Fallout 4 version, because frankly I prefer the way it looks in Fallout 4. I know a lot of people prefer the suit of armour look, but I prefer the mech suit look. It gives it an actual bulk that the power armour really needs to look intimidating, if you know what I mean. So yeah, the one bit I probably fault them for is how thin the waist is. I mean, that's thinner than most human waists, so there's no way anybody could actually fit into that. They should have widened that out just a little bit. The other place I'll probably fault them for is the shoulders. Anyone who knows Fallout 3 and 4 actually knows that these armour pieces actually look like that in the game. They're out, they're not down. They could have really put them in a swivel, so that, I mean, they were obviously putting it in that position so that they could give it at least a little bit of movement upwards, but I mean, you could have loosened it up, guys, and it would still have worked just fine. Just put it in a peg or something, for God's sake. So yeah, that makes it look a bit off if you've just got it standing. But apart from that, it looks spot on to the suit in the game. Yeah, so enough about him for the moment. Let's have a look at his laser rifle, or the AER-9, as it used to be called before Bethesda basically made it a basic weapon, I suppose. You can tell it's a Fallout 3 version because there is no sights attached to it. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Fallout 3, you didn't look down sights, which is essentially the act of looking down the barrel of the gun to aim it. You used hip fire only, which is one of the reasons why a lot of people didn't really like Fallout 3. There are mods to fix that, but only on PC obviously. So yeah, back to the gun itself, before I go off on another tangent. It's really well done. focus, there we go. Yeah, so you've got yellow in the right places, you've got the greys, and you've got the dark, really dark grey, sort of brownish colour. It is a little bit warped, but not too much, and it's a hard plastic, so it does its job quite well. In terms of fitting in the hand, it's a little bit finicky, but you can get it to work. A lot of people were saying that the hand was mismoulded for it, but I've not seen that problem. It fits the gun pretty much perfect. A lot better than the Lone Wanderer's poor excuse for a gun holding hand. And unlike the Lone Wanderer, he actually has an open grip hand so that you can hold it with both hands. So yeah. In terms of articulation of the figure, get that back out, it is a little bit limited, but to give them credit, they've gave him as much articulation as they possibly could for something of this heft, should we say. He does have a ball joint in the neck, but it's kind of limited. You do get some tilt. You don't get any back or forward really, just really a swivel and then side to side. And it can do a 360 if you sort of force it round, but you do have these pipes in the way. Again, that's moulded detail to the show, or the show, I wish there was a show, to the game. So yeah, can't do much about that. The arms, I have already said, they aren't accurate, but they've tried to give it as much as possible. Can do a 360, and it goes out that far. In terms of elbows, it can go that far, so just before 90. Of course, they have moulded these in such a way so that they're still there as per the game, but it still impedes it once it reaches that point. It does swivel there as a sort of, well, a swivel. You've got a hinge and swivel at the hand, which does pretty decently, I should say. You've got a waist, which does actually work quite well. It goes up a little bit, down really far, and it swivels to give him some dynamic poses. The legs are a little bit limited, again because of the design of the suit, not because Funko couldn't be bothered. He can kick about that far, would help if I was actually showing it the camera, wouldn't it? Kick that far forward, can go that far back, and it goes out about that far in total. His knees are actually double jointed knees, and they can get that far, which for something of this heft is actually not bad. And he's got a ball joint at the foot, which doesn't really do all that much, but it's enough. He won't be doing those wide angle poses anyway. So yeah guys, out of the three of the four that I've reviewed so far of the Funko Legacy Collection, well, Bethesda Games Legacy Collection I should say, this is probably, I'd say, second best. Second best to the Dovahkiin, or the Dragonborn anyway. The Lone Wanderer is just a pile of junk. I would only get him if he's standing on the display, but that's getting back on a tangent. So yeah guys, before I go, I would obviously recommend this figure. It looks good once you've got him in a pose on your shelf, and he is actually a bit poseable for how bulky he is. But I will warn you, the Funko the Funko Fallout figures have actually been bootlegged. They're on AliExpress, I kid you not. And they're missing the sort of details that you would get in these ones. I mean, I didn't actually mention it, but it's got a sort of nice dirt wash on it that gives it that sort of oiled metal look. It also gives it a kind of rusted metal look in places as well. So yeah, but the bootleg ones don't look as if they have that. So I would probably steer clear of those. to be honest with you, and I don't know how brittle they are. So yeah guys, until next time, I'll see y'all later.